Good afternoon, it's Anastasia and welcome to Mind Over Matter episode 5. We have a lot of various different interviews coming up with Alison Duggan and Anna Story, who are mental health advocates, and along with mental health games and challenges. So please do stay tuned.
Hello, I'm Paul Gill. Welcome to Mind Over Matter, episode 5. Today's guest, we've got Anna joining us. Thank you for joining us, Anna.
Hello.
How are you today?
Fine, thank you.
So obviously we're carrying on our conversation about mental health. And I know it states a bit of an obvious question, but to you, what is mental health?
Well, I guess mental health for everybody is just feeling your best self.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it can be feelings, it can be everything, can't it? Mental health.
Physical, mental, emotional, yeah, all together.
And what do you say are the causes? How do you know if you have mental health problems?
Well, I guess you're just not feeling yourself.
No.
As you just said, you're feeling something is wrong. It could start physically, it could start mentally. You can't think straight. You're constantly sad. It's normal to be sad. Sometimes you don't have to be happy constantly.
No, that's right, no.
But if it's consistent depression or consistent, I don't know, unhappiness or irritation, then something obviously is...
Isolation.
Yeah.
Not wanting
feeling lonely and not wanting to go out or not feeling like doing anything about it, and something's not right.
Because mental health is a vast spectrum, really, isn't it? It's like a lot of anxiety is mental health. A lot of people have anxiety when meeting new people, like going out. Some people can't even handle just going out, meeting new people, because they get such panic attacks. I mean, that's all to do with mental health, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Anxiety is now, I would say, one of the main things. Lockdown, and people are scared to get out of the house or meet new people, they're scared of germs. There are lots of new phobias that seem to appear.
I feel like the mind sometimes, it can focus on bad things and also good things. Like if you get yourself in a bit of a rut, you kind of end up focusing on that rut.
Yeah.
If you do good things, positive things, you focus on the good things as well, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise you develop this tunnel vision and you only see bad things, and it gets more narrower and you don't see any light at the end of it.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, are there any cures for mental health? Or can it only really be managed?
Well, it's not like you have to be managed. You have to make a decision that you want to do something about it. That's usually the main problem. Like, some people don't make that first move.
No.
If you decide something is wrong, but I can do something about it, that's the main first step.
It's the first step, and again, it's just small steps, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like we're saying, if you feel like something's wrong, what help is there out there?
Well, obviously there is counselling, psychotherapy. You can go to your GP and talk it through, and some GPs are more sympathetic and some are not, and some will just offer you pills, and some would offer talking therapy as well. And both can help, and together can help.
Oh, right. So always don't lock something out, don't shut the door on one thing. Yeah. Some people might not want to take the pills, but if you tried everything else and that doesn't help, and you can start off with that and then wean yourself off.
Exactly, yeah. I had clients who couldn't start talking therapy until they started taking antidepressants, and that allowed them to get out of the house and see therapists, and then after a while they didn't need these tablets. So
where's your job? You are a therapist?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And do you find a wide range of people coming in seeing you now? Old, young, male, female?
Yeah.
And is there any consistent with the people? How they're finding their mental health? Or is it just all different?
Well, it's all sorts of different angles, because, as I said, there is a lot of anxiety in general, but people come with all sorts of problems like work issues, bereavement, relationship problems, but then we start going deeper and we find more layered things underneath. Yeah.
I think that's what some people need to do, just talk a bit more, bottle it up. The thing about mental health, you can't see it. You know, if you've got an injury, like you've broken your arm, people can see you've broken your arm.
And
but with mental health,
sorry for you.
that's right. With mental health, no one can see it. So
which is kind of sometimes a shame because somebody can be really suffering, but they, it's not visible. So people say, "Oh, you just get yourself together and just deal with it."
And there's not a stigma about it as much anymore. I mean, the last 5 or 6, 7
Thankfully,
years, we've really come understanding it, haven't we? It's really come to the forefront, and it's good because people out there do suffer, don't they?
People talk about it now. They talk to their friends, or they might advise like, "This counsellor really helped me, and then why don't you do the same?" So it's normal now to talk about counselling.
And what do you do if you feel that someone is suffering from mental health?
Well, if I personally know somebody.
A friend, relative.
Well,
it can be hard to approach.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of advise your relatives or family, but they often would ask me because they know what I do. But it's very hard. You can't do therapy to your friends and family because it's different kind of relationship. But you could just say, for example, I had counseling myself, so why don't you try? It really helped me. Just share your story. That might help. Yeah.
Do you think like exercise, a good diet, a routine can help mental health?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because now it's established the link between what you eat, your gut condition, and your mental health. It's very direct. And if you're eating junk food or drinking too much, and you're not quite healthy, then your mental health is also suffering. So sorting it out would really help.
I think even mild exercise, you don't have to be running miles and miles. A good walk around the park.
Yeah, just walking, just getting out there, and especially choosing something you like. Then you will keep doing that, not forcing yourself to exercise when you don't like this particular type of exercise.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think even it's doing things you like as well, isn't it? I mean, it could be anything from painting, reading, birdwatch, whatever you like. Yeah. But as long as I think when you're out there a little bit does help.
Yeah, just maybe thinking, what do I feel like doing? Like stopping your, running around in circles and just think, could I do something differently?
Yeah, so I think if you are suffering from mental health, it's best to talk about it, open up about it, and see a counsellor, talk to friends about it. Would that help?
Yeah, if you have understanding friends, sometimes people won't understand or wouldn't like to talk about it. It's great because counsel is one thing, but it's good if you could share it with other people as well. Yeah. Oh,
that's fantastic. I think a lot of people with mental health, it's keeping it bottled up, and it's opening up about it, talking about it, realising there is a problem, and talking and help. Able to talk, really.
Yeah, sometimes just describing a problem helps.
Yeah.
And it might even sort it out. Just putting it into words, and that's it.
Okay then. Well, we've really enjoyed our conversation today. Thanks for joining us on episode 5, and we hope to see you next time.
Hello, my name is Lisa, and today on the show we have Josiah.
Hello.
So Josiah, thank you very much for coming on the show today. And you have a lot of information to give about mental health, and let us know your thoughts on it, how it affects people, maybe any mental health issues you have that you have got over, anyone you've helped.
So yeah, first of all, everyone has mental health. It's our emotional, psychological and social well-being. It helps how we think, feel and act. It's very important in our lives from childhood through adolescence to adulthood. And so I have mental health, you have mental health. I might not have a mental disorder, however, we can't see that. And on your screen right now, here is the mental health continuum. So the top being optimal mental well-being, the right being minimum mental illness, the bottom being minimal mental well-being, and the left being maximum mental illness. Everyone fits onto this spectrum, and so what is the case with some people is that not everyone has visible problems, especially with their mental health.
Yes.
So nowadays you see people wearing lanyards with sunflowers on them, signifying that they have a disorder. And so that's just to tell us, those who might not recognize that okay, like I've got this going on with me, bear with me, be patient. You know, it's also a way to raise awareness and to be conscious of the people around you. Not everyone's, let's say you're a happy person who's going about the day, you fit in the top right of the spectrum, nothing's really wrong with you. You have your bad days, you have your ups and downs. However, you should also be aware that there are people who also fit into the top left, the bottom left, and the bottom right of the spectrum. So just because you are having a good day doesn't mean someone else is having a good day. And so what that means is that as humans, as individuals, it's our job to be conscious about it and to help those as well if we can. So it comes down to relatability, understanding, and just hearing people out. So I used to be, well, when growing up, I used to be sometimes on the top right of the spectrum. However, as time went on during growing up, puberty, I was mainly falling down into the bottom right, which is the minimum mental well-being, but without mental illness. However, I could have had a mental illness had I gone for a diagnosis, but I don't know that because I never actually went.
Yeah.
So what this means is that my problems weren't visible. However, it was very much visible that there were days where I weren't okay, but sometimes people wouldn't ask that. Especially in nowadays generation, usually people ask you, "You okay?" And you say, "Fine." However, I'm not fine. But if I say no, I think that you can't do anything about it. However, this is what I'm saying about we need to be conscious and open, because unless we let people have a say in what they want to say, some people won't get the help they need. And so the vulnerable will stay vulnerable because they're not opening themselves up to help, especially with a lot of what's going on nowadays. I've seen, a lot of people are becoming closed off, so they get help, but they don't want to receive it and take it in. So I've noticed this especially on going out with walks with people. I noticed that when you try and give them a helping hand, when you see how they're doing, they're very closed off. And so, although you might be a stranger to them, it's to say that, well, I came along your way and no one else did. I'm trying to help you, but you're not taking it in. So I feel like this generation nowadays needs to really, take it in, because when you're giving things to people, they don't really want to, they're usually saying no. There's usually a no generation.
I think some people as well, they're embarrassed, aren't they, that they have mental health issues. And we need to try and find a way to, obviously a lot of people don't want to open up about what is bothering them. So I think the recognition is, the awareness for the public is very, very important. And I feel as well that every workplace should have some kind of counsellor or someone trained, within mental health. Because as you say, some people may look all right on the outside, me, myself, some days, but inside you can be crying and you want help, but you can't ask for it. And it's about getting the awareness out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially, cost of living crisis, the way society is nowadays. There is so much stress.
Yeah, with some people, it is plainly visible that something's going on in their lives. Where, the other day, I did see someone on the train. She had, cuts on her arm, and I just thought, right. So I took the uncomfortable approach by actually getting out of my comfort zone and be like, "Hey, is everything okay?" because I've seen this, I've seen that. But if you know, if the world had more of that, then I'm sure it'd be a better place as well. Now, there are going to be 2 examples on your screen right now of Luke and Leia. So, Luke is in school, but shies away from other students. Turns out he has anxiety. Luke has just passed his maths mock exam, so he normally revises in the library to pass the next. Leia, on the other hand, has finished her exams and is excited to start college. She's just received a text from her boyfriend of 2 years that he wants to break up. Recently, Leia has been feeling devastated. So, going back to the last slide, we can see that Luke, despite having mental health issues as anxiety, he's still able to go about his days, or at least some of them, in a positive mood, in a positive spirit. He can focus on his exams. Although his anxiety is shy, it makes him seem a bit shy and has a lot of pressure on him, there are still days where he can focus, he can move forward, at least he's actually progressing. But with Leia, on the other hand, she has now been put into a situation where she's very upset, which could lead to having a mental disorder. And it also is dependent on her environment, the people around her, her headspace, what she's listening to, what she's feeding herself, both physically, emotionally, and spiritually as well. Things like, whatever she's feeding herself, like with food, whether it's junk food as well. So yeah, we all need to take that in as well.
Well, Josiah, it's really interesting speaking to you. You know, the knowledge that you have for mental health disorders or not, as you say, everyone has mental health, doesn't actually have to come under any kind of, name as such. Awareness is really important, and, please, listen back to what Josiah has said today. I mean, I myself have found it very, very interesting, and would love to bring you back as a guest on another show, Josiah. So thank you for watching. Please, please, please be aware, watch out for anybody that may need help, reach out for them if they can't themselves. Thank you.
Welcome back. We're now at the part of the series where we have a panel chat. My name is Claire Commons and these are my guests for the panel chat. Today we're going to be talking about how to rebuild your life. So why doesn't everybody introduce themselves?
Hi, I'm Josiah.
I'm Ali. I'm Anna.
Hey, so welcome guys. Anna, do you want to give us some advice on how to rebuild your life? What is your takeaways?
From the point of view of therapy,
Yes.
When you're having therapy, what happens is you discover different parts of yourselves which you might not have even suspected existed. And from these new discovered parts, you can start building a different self.
Yes.
You thought I'm like that, but actually you can be like this.
Yeah, so
completely
once you know what it is and have the tools, you can start building,
so
rebuilding.
it is possible.
Yeah, I think it's really important to have those tools. I know for myself, I've also struggled with mental health, and having a framework or tools and understanding what it is the best way to actually move forward.
Yeah, and just to know it's possible. Just to know, you can do it.
What do you guys think?
Okay, so from my perspective, I'd say from the ground up, because that's where humans literally come from. So how I like to put it is that every pot has a potter. So this means sometimes you just have to be smashed, but then you got to look at the pieces in your life and it's like, this is whatnot. It could be an event, a tragic event, or this piece could be, let's say a good event, like a milestone. Now, we got to take those pieces and rebuild them together. And it's like, let's say you want to get to a point in life where you are stabilizing yourself. You know, you've got a good outlook on life, you're very positive, you've got good energy flowing from you, you want to be more kind. So you got to look at situations in your life, right? Where did this go wrong? How could I improve on this? How could I improve on that? All the nitpicking, all the pruning, where it's like, okay, these are what's going wrong here. These are what went wrong here. Let me say, let's remove that and replace it with something else, or go back to that and just rewire it all together so that it matches my outlook on what I want to become.
Self-reflection, really, and doing the work, right?
Yeah,
because it's not just magically gonna fix itself. You know,
you have to work on it.
Yeah, you have to work on it. You have to, you know, like you just said, you have to look at what is not working and what is working.
Yeah,
and
just examine your
yeah.
life. Yeah.
If it's not working and it's you know, it's not bringing anything good for you in your life, have a look at that and break it down and say why, what, and you know, what are the reasons for that, and break bad habits.
Yeah,
right?
what can I change?
Exactly. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I've been on a massive journey, particularly over the last 5 years, and I would say that the most challenging parts of my life have been when I've learnt the most. So 5 years ago I had bowel surgery, and it was during my time when I was off with bowel surgery that I did literally think, I can't keep on living my life like this, something needs to change. And so, as you said, I've done a lot of work on myself, and it's delving into, those different parts of yourself, the parts of yourself that make you happy, the parts that you want to leave behind, and also remembering, for me, it was remembering a lot about the essence of who I was, kind of the younger version of me when I was the happiest parts of your life. Why were you happy? Are those parts missing? It might be you can't get them back, but you can get that feeling back in a different way. So I know one of you was saying about a toolkit. I have like a toolkit. You kind of go, whether it be meditation or going out in nature, whatever it is. But something you think, if you can do things on a regular basis, just keeps you on more of an even keel and able to deal with life's challenges.
Interesting. Yes, so really rebuilding yourself from the ground up. I mean, for me, I've been through quite a lot of traumas, and then the pandemic was really hard for me. Firstly, the isolation was really hard after all the traumas, and you know, you can't hide from them, right? You know, all right, the demons are right there in front of you, and now you have to deal with it, right? And sometimes it's not easy. Like, it's not that simple to face those. And sometimes, for me, I've now immigrated back here to the UK. I know a lot of people will say that don't move because you're running away from your problems. Sometimes you do need a fresh start. And for me, this is what's worked for me. I don't think I've run away from it because I've certainly got the tools to deal with it. But just maybe that space wasn't a healthy environment for me to grow.
Could be the case.
Yeah.
I mean, something that I've heard as well is about the people that you mix with. You know, the closest people you mix with, that's what you base your reality on. So I know for myself, I've changed careers completely, and I've left that life behind. And that's really helped with my mindset. So rather than being with those sort of people who see things negatively and just the day-to-day general things, I'm seeing people with completely different mindset.
I hear you.
And that's helped me to see. It's kind of like looking through a different lens. It's like I'm looking through that window, so I can only see that. But what about looking through a bigger window? What about looking through that window?
Or deciding which people make me.
What
kind of people.
And also, if you don't have they're not supporting you and they're not understanding you, it's not healthy.
Draining.
For sure. Draining. Hey. So what would your guys' advice, I guess, be for people that maybe are trying to rebuild their life and they don't have a support network? Like, what would you recommend for them to do to try and start building that network of support? It's a difficult one. Like, I've immigrated, so I'm trying to make new friends and build it. So that's why I was asking, what do you recommend?
If you like any activity or just engage in that activities, and you'll meet people who also like that.
Yeah, great
That's
idea.
one
So if you
way,
like mountain
yeah.
biking, join a
Yeah.
mountain biking group, you know.
Yeah, or
If
squash.
yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
play
definitely
squash,
sport or outdoors is obviously good for you and good for your mental
Yeah.
health. I mean, I always feel good when I'm outside in nature. Absolutely love it, like you mentioned, it's like for meditation, etc. So yeah, things like that, or even just joining like social clubs, like a gym. Like I go to the gym, so I can make friends through the gym. Again, that's exercise. What other examples can we maybe give to our viewers?
Finding the right people, as you said, you know, find what you like and find people who also like the same thing you do, but also take time to breathe. Literally, you need to sit down, not, wouldn't say in a corner like time out, but sit down, breathe, analyze, reevaluate what's going on in your life. Am I where I need to be? What do I want next? What's like a trophy I want to get? How much should I work for? This, that, yada, yada, yada. All of that stuff. Like, sit down and just stop for a moment. Reality check, breathe. All right, go straight ahead.
And don't give up. I mean, because it's not always gonna things aren't always gonna work out the way that you want. You may still be rejected. You may.
You try one thing and
don't give up. Like just keep trying, keep going. You know. In life, you'll have rejection. Makes you stronger. Tenacious is a good word.
What I love about that as well is something I used to find very difficult to do is when you're striving something, you're striving for a goal. Sometimes it seems so far away that you think you're never going to get there, and it's celebrating along the way, celebrating every single step.
Love that.
Because even the step of trying is actually sometimes it's a massive step.
Yeah, just patting yourself on your
You know,
back.
trying something new. It perhaps didn't work exactly as you thought, but what can you learn from that? And celebrate what did go well, rather than always kind of beating yourself up about what didn't go quite so well. That's been a massive turning curve for me.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so that's it. Thank you so much to the panelists today. What great advice you've given us. I mean, if you are trying to rebuild your life, and you are suffering from any mental health issues, please do stay until the end of the show. We will have some contact details there for you for our helpline and places that you can go to. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, my name is Ricardo P. Lloyd, and today we are joined by Alison Duggan on episode 5 of Mind Over Matter, and we're going to be talking all things mental health. Hi Alison, would you like to introduce yourself to the viewers and just give a brief overview of your story so far?
Okay, so my name's Ali, and I am here today to talk about my journey through breast cancer, which I was diagnosed with during the COVID period. So it's my story from diagnosis to where I am today.
What would you say have been some of the challenges that you went through during that period?
I would say my first challenge was the fact that it was actually during COVID. So I went for my first ever mammogram and I got a call back. The thing was, when I got a call back, because I've already done a lot of work around mental health, I initially thought, oh my God, this is cancer. And then I took myself out of it because I thought, no, it might not be cancer. So when I went back in for my second appointment and more tests, I went in shock because I'd actually took myself out of it. And I had nobody with me, because it was during COVID, so I was there on my own. And suddenly it felt like everything was spiralling out of control. Yeah, I think the fact that it was nobody there at that first appointment to support me and be there for me.
Well, so what was your kind of frame of mind like during that time?
Well, I remember seeing a breast cancer nurse, and once I saw her, I knew that this thing actually, it was true, because the way she was talking to me and have you got somebody with you, very clear what she was saying but not actually saying. And I remember saying, no, I'll be fine, I'll sit home, I'll sit in the car, I'll go home, I'll be fine. And I just sat there And I got home and I had some friends contact me and they said, "How'd it go? Are you okay?" And I said, "No, I'm not okay." And they said, "Can we phone you?" And they phoned me, and for once I showed up. That was probably one of the first times I showed up as I really was. I was on the phone, I was in tears, I was distraught. Because I wasn't the sort of person who's used to asking for help. I was Little Miss Independent. Always, yeah, I'll sort it, I'll be fine. I'm okay, I'm fine. So that was the first time I admitted that actually, no, I wasn't fine.
And what do you think some of the taboos around the subject area of mental health and even what you went through are?
The big thing for me was I've gone through various things in my own personal journey, various circumstances I've been through. But I didn't talk about them. The only way I'd talk about things was to, say, mental health professionals, not like somebody like yourself today, because there was a lot of shame around that. And then when I started talking about it, I realised that lots of people actually connected with me because they understood me and it helped them with what they were feeling too. So one of the biggest things for me has been, it's that sharing, it's a seeking support, because when I was going through my challenging time, I could reach out for somebody who was in a good place in their life. And likewise, when a few months later they were in a challenging part of their life, then I could reach out to them and I could help them.
So you feel like the support network is essential to someone's recovery?
For me, it was massive. I mean, I shared a lot of my personal journey on social media, on interviews, and people were saying, "How can you be so strong talking about this?" And I said, "Yeah, but you don't know how many people are in the background supporting me, and I can be strong and I can talk about it to help others because I know that people out there have my back." And it was massive for me. It was absolutely massive. What I would say, somebody actually asked me this question. They had somebody who was diagnosed with breast cancer. It's like, what can I do to help? Because you feel like there's nothing you can do. And I said, just let them know that you're there. So if they want to talk, if they don't want to talk, whatever they want. Sometimes for me, it was just receiving like a simple thinking of you or a heart emoji. That really, really propped me up on those difficult days.
And did you have like a faith system or something that you was holding on to keep you going?
Yeah, I'm part of a Christian faith community, and I knew that they were praying for me every day, and they were also reaching out and they were sending me cards. And again, being part of such a wide network and a wider community really, really helped me. And I was able to give back again with the community, and we got a little WhatsApp group with two of us who were both going through challenging periods of lives, just to support each other on those days when it was tough.
There's something interesting that you told me off camera. I would like to express that with the viewers, and that's that during that time you also did like a pull-up or push-up challenge. Is it true?
So I was diagnosed with breast cancer in November 2020, and I had surgery in January 2021. And people who know me know I'm quite a determined person, and I don't let anything get me down for long. So and I'm also a bit crazy as well. So I decided that this idea that I was going to do a sit-up challenge for shelter. It was 100 sit-ups a day during February 2021. So 2.5 weeks after I had surgery, I saw my consultant. I was healing well, and he said, "Have you got any questions?" And I said, "Yeah, I was thinking of doing this sit-up challenge for shelter. 100 sit-ups a day, that's 2,800 sit-ups. What do you think?" And to my disbelief, he actually said yes. So I thought, I've got to do it. But that was massive for my mental health, because it gave me an outlet away from the cancer, because I was doing fundraising, it gave me a physical challenge. And I was also sharing daily blogs on social media saying how I was feeling, but being real with it and being honest with it. And people really appreciated that.
And you ended up raising £2,000?
So I did 2,800 sit-ups, and I raised the same amount in money, so £2,800, including a donation from my surgeon, which was lovely.
What would you say to other young women or women that's experienced similar struggles to you? What would you say to encourage them?
I can't say this strongly enough, but it's just find a way of getting a support system. It could be just reach out for somebody. You never know. People come out who you wouldn't expect. They'll do things for you. Don't be afraid to ask for help. So for me, it was neighbours, it was friends. I got lifted to the hospital. The old me didn't like asking for help, and allowing your emotions to come out, because when I was diagnosed, I also have family and I didn't want to tell them until I knew what the treatment was going to be. So I used to go out for daily walks in the woods. And I remember my husband saying, do you want your kids to come with you? And I sort of said no, because I was going to the woods to be perfectly honest, to literally kind of cry and sob and scream and do whatever else needed to come out. So I could go back to my day-to-day life. It's got to come out, that emotion that you're feeling, that pent-up emotion, it's got to come out somehow. And that enabled me just to focus on the treatment.
And you're a bit of an actress as well, or performer as well. Would you like to talk to the viewers about that? Yeah, so I do. So as a result of this, I quit a long-term job and now I'm doing more acting work. I do a lot of mental health films. I also do comedy stuff as well on stage. And passionate about all things mental health, including writing about mental health. So I speak about mental health. I share some of my journey to let people know that whatever they're going through, if they're in a dark place right now, it doesn't always have to be that way. I'm so passionate about mental health. So I'm Ricardo P, Lloyd, and I was joined by a lovely guest, Alison Duggan, and she was speaking about her journey with breast cancer. If you've been affected by any issues raised in today's program, there are many helplines that can help you deal with issues around mental health. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you had taken something positive from today's episode.
Welcome to episode 5. We are going to be playing a mental health game called Quickfire. Here is to our 3 guests, Lisa, Ali and Josiah. Welcome. So the first question is, how would you describe schizophrenia in your own words?
I'm not an expert, but I would say that they have different types of thoughts. They can hear voices at times. They're not of their own mind when they're having a schizophrenic episode. It is a condition that does need to be heavily controlled because the person comes out of their self, and is almost like another person, thinking about another person, and the thoughts they actually get can be quite severe, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my perception.
Yeah. And how would you define schizophrenia?
I would say that a schizophrenic hears various voices. Those voices are perhaps different parts of themselves, and the voices that tend to perhaps shout louder are the ones that can relate to self-harm. So I have heard of, schizophrenics, going to jump for something, and it's like they're fighting with the other part of themselves that doesn't want to jump.
Yes.
But it can be well controlled, it can be well managed, but yeah, when they're going through those schizophrenic periods, it's literally life-threatening.
Yeah. Okay. And Josiah?
I don't know, really. I don't actually know.
So you pass?
Yeah, pass.
Okay. So I will give the point to Lisa. Thank you. Your answer was great, but it's who gives the closest answer. So, okay, next question. Give 3 coping mechanisms of depression. So the 3 cures.
Coping.
Yeah, of how you would, cope with depression, basically?
I always think writing things down, writing feelings down can help. Find not everyone has something that they actually like and can focus on, especially when you're, you know, in the depressive mode. But try and find something that you like doing, even if it's reading a book, because you can take yourself out of the life that you're living and the stress, and you know, put yourself into the story. I know when I've had hard times, that's actually helped me. What else? Have positive people around you. Try not to be around negative people, negative situations.
Yes,
not always
true.
easy to do, but that would help.
Okay. And for you?
I would say for me, it's grasping on to those things, remembering those things that you like to do, and ideally having a toolkit. So if you feel yourself dropping down to depression, if you've had depression before, knowing the things that have helped you in the past, that have helped you to get out of it. Also finding those things that you love in life, and if you can bring those into your everyday life. For me, that's singing, that's performing, that's how I coped with difficult emotions. And another thing that is massively, in my estimation, underrated is going out for walks in nature. Because when you're out in nature, you're just in mindfulness, you're not in your head anymore, you're just out, and yeah, that's a big help to get out of your head.
Okay. And Josiah?
I'd say pleasant activity scheduling, just noting down what you want to do in the week. Whether it's with friends, just write it down for a certain time and day. And next is, you know, finding what works well with you, especially as well as, you know, thinking, rational thoughts, seeing if things are fact or opinion. And also, another way to cure depression would also to be around the right people.
Okay, very good answers. It's a difficult one. I would say give a point to Ali, because I like the fact that you gave examples of your own kind of personal, how you dealt with it. So that was great. Okay, so the final question is, how would you describe bipolar?
Bipolar is a condition where you can either be very high in mood or you can be very low in mood. I think that if you do have the condition, it's not medicated, there's never kind of, you're not on the norm, and it's very quickly to switch from that high to low.
Yes.
So it's very hard for people that don't have an understanding of the condition to be with somebody or have someone in the family or someone you work with, you know, that actually does suffer from their mood. It's not their fault. So, you know, this show and these games are great because we're helping the awareness of watching out if people do suffer from this. To help them to understand, you know, don't be ignorant of conditions.
Very true.
So for me, it's the high and the low.
It's the mood.
The changing of the moods, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you?
I have got personal experience of bipolar, as in somebody who I knew. Now, when it comes to depression, I think depression is a lot more well known about, but not the other side, the mania side. Now, when you're suffering from mania, you can lose your inhibitions, you can spend lots of money, you can do things you wouldn't normally do.
Yes.
But sometimes those people, when they're going through the manic episodes, they don't realise it, because actually some of that is quite freeing and it's quite fun, but it can be harmful for everybody around them. And so when they go down in the lows, they can want to be in the highs again, because they don't realise that the highs, so that's not the norm either. So the literally seesawing of the of the one from the other.
So it does a balance. They
Yeah,
don't
there's-
have the balance.
No, they don't have a balance. But some people with the mania, they like, because they can feel invincible when they're having the manic episode. They feel invincible, so it feels wonderful. So why would they not want to?
Yeah,
Some
it's
of them in
true.
that state, it's like they want to go on to that state because they don't realise actually that's not. But they don't want to be the other side, which is
I know what you
precious.
mean.
So they kind of not exactly cling on, but you know that for them is kind of a good thing in a way.
Exactly, yeah. And Josiah?
You can give me a pass, everything was said.
Okay, so the winner goes to Alison. Well done. So the prize involved is a Mind Over Matter personalised item of your choice. So either a tote bag, a pen, you know, and it will be posted to you. So thank you very much for everyone participating. You all did very well.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that's the end of the mental health game, and thank you for watching Mind Over Matter. So that is a wrap. Thank you all for joining and watching episode 5. We hope you enjoyed all the fascinating stories and interviews with our special guests. Please do stay tuned for episode 6 because we have more coming up. Thank you.